All right, welcome back everybody. This week's gonna be some Tom Petty and Mike Campbell greatness. This is off of Full Moon Fever. This is Runnin' Down a Dream by Tom Petty. And it's runnin', apostrophe, not running. So yeah, this is probably gonna be a relatively quick lesson. There's not a whole lot in terms of chords. It really gets down to business very quickly. There's not a whole lot of changes going on. But what a rippin' guitar lead that Mike Campbell plays on this. I'm going to cover all of that in the lesson today. So if this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so yet, I invite you to jump down and click subscribe and ring the bell. Bell lets you know when I drop new content. I do that every single week. All my videos have chapters in them, so you can jump right to the part of the lesson that you want to see and bypass what you don't. And if you're looking for ways to support the channel, I really appreciate that. There's thanks. Just like throwing a tip in the tip jar. Or even better, you can join my Patreon page where I've got chord charts and tabs for all the lessons I do on YouTube, just like this one. Links in the description, so check it out. All right, so Runnin' Down a Dream. This came out on the Full Moon Fever album. Tom Petty technically was a solo album, but I know he used a lot of the Heartbreakers, filling out the musicians throughout that record. Sounds still very much like a Heartbreakers record, but technically it was Tom Petty. When this album came out, I was so happy. It was like a couple years since new Tom Petty material had been out. Huge fan. Anyway, just greatness. So you tuned in, so you know you love the song too. So this is in standard tuning. And this is just great rock guitar. I'm going to break down the rhythm guitar, which is played by Tom Petty, I believe. What he's playing, and I've looked at what he does live, broken that down, so I'll go through all of that first, and then I'll cover Mike Campbell's epic solo after that. Okay, so let's talk about tone. Tone is just rock. Get some good saturated high gain, or not high gain, just get something like that. Okay. So for the rhythm guitar, it's still just very sort of overdriven. You're going to be playing chords, and it's all about power chords. This song it's in the key of E, but everything about this is playing emphasis on the E note and the B note throughout the entire song. Like especially these, your strings 1 and 2. Those are going to ring out all the time, and we're going to minimize that major third on the E chord. We're actually hardly ever going to play that, and I'll talk through that. Okay, so the song opens with the riff, right? We'll talk about that when I talk about the lead guitar. So when the riff runs through, the rhythm guitar is going to hit an E chord, and it's an E power chord. And then he's going to pick up on that E and B string together, right? So the E chord that he plays, to my ear, can be done in one of two ways. Like this, where I'm actually not fretting that third string. I'm actually muting that third string with my index finger. So normally you would be, but I'm not hitting that note. And when you mute it, hear the difference? Here's with, and without, with, without. That note, right? Right, we're eliminating that. It's just straight power chord, okay? So that's a good way you can do it. The other way I've seen Tom do it is this. The only notes in that chord are E and B. And E and B. But I think it sounds more powerful down here. All right, so the riff comes in. I'll talk about the riff later, but it comes in. So you're going to hit that big chord, and then he hits those sort of E and B notes there. So that's how he fills out that part. So verses come in. It's a beautiful day. Sun beat down. And then here we're going to go to a D. It's like, but we're going to keep that same if you played the E here. We're going to keep that exact same fingering, and we're going to slide it down 2 frets. Don't change any other strings. Let those E's and B's ring out over that D. Was a beautiful day. Sun beat down. I hear the dissonant D. So much better than, right? Again, we're eliminating that major third. I was driving. Right? So that's all. That's all. So pick your E. Or whichever way you want to go. But that's the important part. You want to get that tone in there. Then the chorus. The chords are D, G, E. And again, I'm muting or not playing like the major third. So on the D, I'm actually muting the first string. And if you hit that, it's not that big a deal. Then G, and I'm definitely muting the B note. I'm muting that to get a power chord, and then back to our power E. And in the chorus, it's a little less, like if you hit all the regular, if you hit the major thirds on those, it's less of a big deal to my ear. Right? So then it goes from E to G to A. I prefer the power chord sounds, but D, G, E, E, G, A, P, D, okay? So that's it. Goes back into a verse, goes all the way around again. Then there's the bridge section. The bridge section chords are, again, that exact same power chord shape here. We're just going to do it from a C position to a D position to an E position, and that's it. But let those E and B strings ring out. Here's the C. Isn't that great? Makes it a C major 7, and a D, and an E. Again. So that's it for the chords on the song. On that long outro where that solo is going to happen, he's just repeating the C, D, and E. It's just that, right? C, D, E, and you're doing E twice. But that's all the rhythm chords, right? So, then your chorus. And your bridge. All right. Let's talk about the solo. All right, on the solo guitar, so Mike Campbell is just tearing it up. And I watched or read, I don't know, one of the three interviews with him where he talked about he played a Les Paul Les Paul Jr. On this. So just single P90 on the bridge. I don't exactly have that, but this is the closest thing that I've got. And I've stepped up sort of my gain distortion even more sort of obnoxious. So that's sort of the sound that I got going on now. A little more in your face, right? So all bridge pickup. So let's talk about that opening riff. So that opening riff it's just around an E based you know, it's an E-bass thing. It's all on this played on the 6th string. So it's not all down here, which I for a long time thought it was, but it's not. It's all on this string. So slowly. The very slight quarter bend on that 3rd fret. And very staccato, purposeful picking. And then it's all rhythm guitar during those parts. Yeah, and so same thing, he does that introing the verse, you know, it's same thing, it intros the, you know. I love the chords that makes when you add that emphasized E against all of those, right? You know, he's not playing the chords. Tom's playing the chords. He just plays the riff. But when you hear it against those chords, it's just such a great sound, right? So that's really it. That's all there is other than the guitar solo. So the guitar solo, going to that quickly, that is basically him doing all kinds of E minor pentatonic, usually just on strings 1 and 2, a little bit. Every once in a while he'll touch string 3 and even less string 4, but he's just rocking E, like an E minor throughout that whole thing, right? So it's divided into 7 sections, and sort of the recurring theme that he has throughout, that he starts with and he like comes back to throughout, is this unison E thing, where you're grabbing the 12th fret on the 1st string here, your high E, and you're bending into it with your B string, you know, right? And you're hitting it all the time, right? But he varies between the, you know, that's all over the place in terms of a theme that goes on. So anyway, so what happens? So there's 7 parts. There's sort of 7 times that this goes around, starting from the C. And when the chords go to the C, that's the signal of the beginning for how I'm going to describe it. That's the signal for the beginning of that lead measure. So there's 7 sections, and the lead always starts on the C, the first C chord. All right, so the first time around, it's pretty easy. It's just a lot of that unison. Right, and he ends that particular section sliding up to your E note on 17 on the B string. You can hear him do that. And what I found when I'm listening to the solo, what I find super cool about all this is the little things that he does maybe at the end of each phrase, like the end of each go round, to lead you sort of into the next one. And that's where the little art of Mike, I think, seems to be coming through. All right, so that's the first one. You're just doing unison. So that's the first one. The second one, you're going to do these great big 2-step bends. So you're on that E note, Shaking that really good. That's on 17 on your B string. You're going to put your finger up here on 20th fret on your B string. Okay, so that two-step bend. I'm feeding back all over the place. Don't care. Love that. That's what I'm saying. Like the little phrases that he does at the very end are just super cool. So that one, he pulls it down. Love that. Okay, so that's the second one. The third one, he does these hammer-ons. Again, this is all B and E string, first and second string stuff. He starts down here on the 10th fret, and he's going to hammer on the B string on 12. He's going to do that. And he's going to slide his finger from 10 to 12. And then he's going to do that pull-off thing, but now you're doing it from, he's using the 12th string on, 12th fret on E, the 15th fret on B, and the 12th fret on B. And sort of when you're listening to it, the hammer-ons, it's like it goes up. Da-na-na. And to my ear, it's like then it goes down. Na na na. Right? So. Okay, right? So one more time. All right, I kept going a little bit there. So now we're into the fourth one, right? So the signal that you're going into the fourth one, he's going to grab the 15th fret on the E string. He does that little lick to get out of it. Love that. Very purposeful little licks that he does at the end. Double stops. All right. Then we're on to round number 6, and this is the lick of the solo. I know you know that. So the one that's coming up here. So you're bent up in unison. Okay, notice your pinky is free. What you're gonna do is hammer on the 15, pull off 12 on your E string while you're bent up with your B string in unison. Okay, you're picking on the first string, pull off, and then you're going to hit the B string. And when you put all those together, So try just holding it in place. Right? And then you're going to start bringing your... You're just bringing that note down as you're doing the exact same picking. Right? It's almost like popping. All right, then the last time around, this is all during the fade out now. The last time he does this, he starts on that little hammer on again on 10 and 12. So hammering here 10 to 12. Slide up to E, slide up to G, up to A. And then you're going to hammer. All right, so let me see if I can run through that together. Well, that's about as good as I'm going to get with that, but woo, okay, that was Mike Campbell and Tom Petty. That was Runnin' Down a Dream. Runnin' Down a Dream. And I hope you learned something new today. So if this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so yet, please jump down, click subscribe, ring the bell. Bell lets you know when I drop new content, which I do every single week. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this. And if there's another song you want me to take on and do something similar, let me know what that is too. But until next week, take care, everybody.